Hello everyone and welcome to another Digimon Ghost Game video. This time I'm going to be talking about the latest episode of Digimon Ghost Game, which is episode 54, Second Sight. But I'm also going to be talking about the newly revealed Mega form for Jellymon. As with last week, this will be at the end of the video, just in case you want to be fairly spoiler-free, but we did get a better look at both this Digimon and Angoramon's Mega form that I mentioned last week. So, in terms of this week's episode, there's not too much that happened. It was more or less another very simplistic Monster of the Week, and not that that's a bad thing, but I did find that this episode felt like it didn't do anything amazing or incredible that previous episodes hadn't done. It felt kind of normal. So, we have the Mon of the Week being, interestingly enough, Fujitsumon, which is actually the parasite that lives on Octomon's head. Octomon being a fairly old Digimon that's been around since sort of very on in the franchise's life. But I don't recall Fujitsumon, which is the parasite, ever actually being given a name or sentience on its own. Roast me in the comments if I'm wrong there, but as far as I'm aware, we haven't had this named before. So it's kind of like a new Digimon, but it's also not really a new Digimon, as far as I'm aware. So this Fujitsumon has a disagreement with the Octomon that it lives on after not being able to predict something on this game that Octomon is addicted to. So the Fujitsumon are able to detect danger, but Octomon tried to get it to predict the future. When it does predict the future, but it only really senses danger. So this causes a bunch of humans to start having these visions of people being in danger, and of course, because it's Digimon Ghost Game, this is, one of these humans is Hero. So Hero is able to stop people from these tragedies where they hurt themselves or get badly injured. For example, Gammamon is almost isekai'd by Track-kun into the Digimon Frontier universe, but we have Hero being able to stop him. Hero finds Jellymon, and Jellymon, of course being Jellymon, tries to monetize this and sets up a little fortune teller stall, which I'm actually kind of a big fan of. I like how Jellymon is kind of like not a good character. She's kind of selfish. She's always looking for personal gain or monetary gain, which is fairly unique in terms of Digimon. I like her, but I don't actually like her, if that makes sense. I like the writing. I like the fact that she has a different character to what we've previously seen in partner Digimon, who are usually not super dependent, it's not super independent, are dependent on their partner humans and kind of just stick to their side. Jellymon kind of just leaves, and she kind of has her own businesses and tries to get money and has a lot of selfish reasons for things, instead of just being stuck to her partner human, which we've seen for basically every other series except for maybe Renamon, who kind of goes off in the night, and of course Impmon, who leaves his partner children. But other than that, Digimon are fairly stuck to their human, except for Jellymon, so I really do appreciate that. And of course Angoramon, because Angoramon goes off and has tea parties, which is something I like about Ghost Game. It makes them feel more like characters and not just extensions of the partner human, which in some cases they are meant to be extensions of the partner human, but in Ghost Game they kind of feel like they're not digidestined, they're not chosen really, they just happen to have digivices, which were just given to them by Hero's father. So that is something that's unique. So Hero starts to have all these predictions and starts to kind of force them for monetary gain, because Jellymon, of course, and he starts to actually grow Octomon horns. Anyway, so we find out that it's because of Octomon, and they try to reunite the Fujitsumon with Octomon, but they need to find the leader, and Hero is able to kind of see where the leader is, using Fujitsumon's powers, but every time he does so, he kind of is turning more and more into an Octomon, and Octomon also says that they won't be able to, the human head doesn't have the power to cope with all the energy that Fujitsumon has, so a human head would explode. So there's two threats going on here. One, he's turning into an Octomon, his arm kind of becomes jelly, and like a tentacle, and we have the threat of his head exploding, which neither are particularly fantastic scenarios. So then we have the reveal that the leader of the Fujitsumon is actually inside of Espimon. Gammamon defeats Espimon with the power of friendship, and Espimon kind of vomits up the Fujitsumon and they return to Octomon. And that's kind of the end of the episode. Which, again, I say this a lot, mainly at the start of Ghost Game, but Ghost Game has the problem where a lot of episodes feel like they could have benefited from being a little bit longer. This one felt like it was fairly well paced, but it also could have been more enjoyable if they had more, like, if the whole power of friendship thing felt slightly better. I know that we had a bunch of flashbacks of Espimon and Gammamon being buddies and helping out together, but I felt like it felt kind of like rushed at the end, which again is a problem with a lot of Ghost Game episodes because they could have been a little bit longer. They all feel, well, maybe less so lately I felt that they feel better paced, but more or less they feel like they could have been a tiny bit longer. And this episode felt like it did some great build up at the start, and that was fantastic, but the last bit could have been stretched out a little bit more. It just felt extremely rushed, and this whole scenario felt like they rushed to get to the climax to solve it. And of course, because it's episodic and things have to basically start off in each episode the same way as they finished, when we have the reveal that Hiro's arm is still, yes, a tentacle, we have Clockmon to say, oh, Mummymon will be able to fix that. Which I'm glad that we're saying that Mummymon can fix it. I'm glad that we're not just ignoring it, only for it to not be there next episode. But I still feel like it was a little bit like, okay, we have to write that away. Which is a shame, but I guess this episode was just functional. It wasn't a bad episode, but I just felt like this was basically like every Ghost Game episode feels like it could be this episode, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I guess I kind of disappointed myself by putting expectations that this could be another Gammamon loses it episode, but instead he didn't. He kind of just says, no, Espimon, I'm your friend! And Espimon, there was a moment where he starts through the power of friendship thing, and Espimon just kind of tries to push him underwater. I thought that was going to be Espimon's about to evolve into Hover Espimon. And I thought that'd be oh good, we're going to actually get somewhere, we're going to have maybe Gammamon losing it, he's going to Dark Evolve into either Gulas Gammamon or his Regulusmon, who's the perfect form for Gulas Gammamon, presumably. And I kind of was disappointed that, no, he just tried to power of friendship harder, which is a shame. It's a little bit of cop-out. I'm not a huge fan of the power of friendship solves everything, because I feel like it's used too much in Digimon, but it almost was power of friendship is not good enough, dunk! And it wasn't. He just power of friendshiped harder. I thought we were going to actually go somewhere, but of course the episode had to end and they had to solve it within a fairly quick amount of time. But in any case, those are my thoughts about this episode. I know I said I didn't have much to say about it, but I guess it turns out I did. I guess, well, what could have been, rather. But in any case, now is the time we'll talk about the mega forms of both Jellymon and the better image of Angoramons. So if you do not want to see this, I just end the video, I guess. Or mute me if you want, and minimize if you want to still try to get to the end of the video. But in any case, spoiler time now. So next month, Psycho Jump, which is where Digimon Dreamers is currently running, which I'm translating. If you want to see more of it, it's all on this channel. And once this month's chapter arrives, I will be translating that, obviously, so check that out and make sure you're subscribed so you can see all of the Digimon Dreamers translations. But in any case, next month, so coming out on early January, I think it's 2nd. It usually comes out on the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, depending on the day of the week, I'm fairly certain. There will be an Amphimon, which is Jellymon's Megaform, and Dilbitmon, who is Angoramon's Megaform card. So we get a better look of Amphimon. Last week we only had the very small sprite form from the Angoramon B memory that's coming out, but now we get a better look of the actual design of this character, and he still looks like, I had to look it up, it's, I think there's a character called, I've forgotten. I think there's one character called Fran, who's this bunny girl from Final Fantasy. I have very little knowledge of the Final Fantasy series. I've played, like, Revenant Wings and Tactics Advance, and that's it. So I kind of just have, like, very passing knowledge, but Dilbitmon reminds me of the bunny people from Final Fantasy. And then I looked it up and I was like, okay, yep, okay, I'm correct. He does look a lot like that. And then we have Amphimon, who immediately after seeing it, in the same way that immediately after seeing Dilbitmon, I said that's the rabbit person from Final Fantasy. I thought and I hate to be this guy. I don't like to be this guy who was, oh, Digimon and Pokemon, the same thing, ha ha ha. No, but I just saw Amphimon, and I was like, oh, that's Buzzswole. And I'm not someone who just says, oh, Pokemon, Digimon, same thing. It just reminds me so much of Buzzswole, which is one of the Ultra Beasts, I think. I didn't like Sun and Moon, so I retain very little knowledge about Sun and Moon. So the fact that I'm remembering a Sun and Moon Pokemon is kind of like, hey, I retained something from that game. It wasn't a complete waste of my time. But Buzzswole just immediately made me think of Buzzswole. And I'm really relieved that Amphimon looks like this. I'm not a fan of the whole, like, every feminine-coded Digimon needs to be a big booby lady. And Thetismon is like a good mix of, like, really cool and also kind of like a buxom, beautiful lady. And I'm glad that we didn't continue to go like that. I'm glad that we got a buxom lady, and then we also got, like, just, like, an Eldritch monster nightmare thing. So that's really cool. I'm glad that we got both. So everyone can be happy. We've got the people who like the buxom Digimon, they can be happy with Thetismon, and the people who don't like the buxom Digimon can be happy with Amphimon. I'm a big fan of that. I also like how we have Tailmon evolving into, we have Angelmon, and then we have a dragon. So we have, a pretty lady, and we have, like, a dragon. So it's kind of like that. We have very different, like, perfect and mega form. So everyone's happy. Big fan of that, because I know that Digimon needs to have their buxom ladies, but I kind of am glad that we don't always go to the, hey, check out this broad. So that's kind of sweet. So these designs are really cool from the little images that we have from these promo cards that are upcoming in the next Psycho Jump. And of course, this month's Psycho Jump, the one that came out a few days ago, has the Cirrusmon promo card. So that hasn't arrived yet, but when it does, again, check out this channel, because I will be doing the English translation of it, as always. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you don't know what Digimon Dreamers is, it's really great. I suggest that you watch my videos on Digimon Dreamers, because I've been translating them, and it's such a cute series, especially if you love the Vital Bracelet, because it does tie into the Vital Bracelet. The character has a Vital Bracelet. It's a lot like V-Tamer, in the way that it's kind of like a bugged V-Pet. So it's kind of cool. So there's my plug for Digimon Dreamers, and also my self-plug for my translations of them. But in any case, that's basically all we have to talk about. So we've got Amphimon, Dilbitmon, and this week's episode of Ghost Game. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about anything that I've mentioned. It's really hot in here, and I'm about to record the podcast talking about this week's episode. So I think I might just not talk the entire podcast to try to make the podcast go quicker, because it's like 33 today, and it's like the third day of summer, and I'm already I'm already done with summer. But in any case, so discussions below in the comment section. Like this video if you appreciate that I'm slowly succumbing to the heat. As you can probably see, I am shiny with the sweat, so I'm gross. So I will definitely be having the world's coldest shower after this. But yeah, and of course subscribe if you haven't already. I'm trying to still get 13,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's December 4th. Okay, it's the 4th day of summer. I just can't remember days. So please subscribe if you haven't already. And tell your friends, and just, if you're sitting at home and you've got the window open because it's hot and you don't have the aircon on because the aircon's downstairs or something, yell out the window, subscribe to LostinTranslationmon! And maybe I'll get an extra subscriber. Who knows? Do people listen to crazy people yelling outside windows? You let me know. So in any case, thanks for watching this video, and of course, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!